So most people know about Skull and Bones, anybody that's semi-awake. Skull and Bones, also known as the Order 322, or the Brotherhood of Death, yeah, positive name, huh, is an undergraduate senior secret society at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. So, just to let you know what PubMed says about Skull and Bones. During the 19th century, Yale College was an academic powerhouse. Having celebrated its centennial in the first year of the new century, the college was transforming itself from a regional New England school whose main function was the education of young men for congregational ministry to a dynamic national, I can't see it because of the recording, whose function was to train leaders. Skull and Bones has been considered the epitome of the Eastern establishment, the confluence of old money, power, and prestige. The Society's membership roster includes some of America's most powerful families: the Rockefellers, Vanderbilts, Fords, Phelps, Pillsburys, Walkers, Whitneys. Yale graduates who were members of Skull and Bones include all three Yale undergraduates who have been elected presidents of the United States: William Howard Taft, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, as well as David McCullough, William F. Buckley, John F. Kerry, on and on. Prescott Bush was also, which was the great-grandfather of Bush Jr. What power and influence does Skull and Bones wield? In actuality, Yale over the years has attracted talented and intellectually gifted students to the college, and Skull and Bones has done a good job in identifying these unique individuals and rewarded them with election to society. Thus, with a single exception, every Yale president from the mid-1800s to 1950s, some 100 years, were all members of Skull and Bones, the presidents of the college. I'm jumping around this article. Running like a golden thread through this story are Yale's secret societies dominated by famous Skull and Bones. Both Gilman and Welch belonged to Skull and Bones, while Harvey Cushing was a member of Scroll and Key and may have turned down a tap from Bones. Halstead, despite being a football captain, a talented player on the baseball team, was not one of them. It might be useful to pay some attention to this unnoticed elephant in the living room. Not because I can shed any light on this subject, as I am not privy to their secrets either, but because it says a lot about power and old boy networks as practiced in the 19th century, and indeed up to our own day. This is ample evidence that Gilman in particular was a power to be reckoned with in the inner sanctum of Skull and Bones. Bonesmen in the governing Yale Corporation was liberally sprinkled with members from Bones and Keys. At times, it could be said that Yale College was a wholly owned subsidiary of Skull and Bones. Each society owns an impressive mausoleum-like crypt, in which meetings are held each Thursday and Sunday evenings. These are massive, very impressive structures, foreboding and bearing an unmistakable message: private, keep out. Although the activities of the society are secret, their existence and membership are not. Rather than being hidden away in some dark recesses of a Yale campus, Skull and Bones lies directly across High Street from Yale's old campus, where 1,400 freshmen live next door to an art gallery on one side and to one of the residential colleges on the other side. Daniel Coit Gilman, Yale, 1852, the founding president of the Johns Hopkins University and the guiding genius whose ideas and spirit infused the new institution with a thirst for knowledge and new truths, acquired via scientific research. William Henry Welch, Yale, 1870, the first appointment by Gilman to the medical faculty of the new university in 1884. Welch became the unquestioned leader of the scientific revolution that fostered a new approach to medicine in America. For 50 years, he held the respect, awe, admiration of American medical profession. There has never been another like him. One Harvard alumnus was quoted as saying that he intended to send his son to Yale because, quote, in real life, all the Harvard men are working for Yale men. In the second half of the 19th century, Yale College produced 4 men who were to play pivotal roles in creating a new and distinctly American kind of university and in the way medicine was taught in this country. Explains so much. Because again, just the name, Skull and Bones, secret society, it's its own corporation. It basically, it's a high syndicate mob. But here's where it gets biblical. I'm going to go through, there's, I think, 3 or all 4 of the Gospels mention Golgotha. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, this is where Jesus was crucified. And they brought him to the place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull. I'm showing these because the reason that the Gospels are very similar is because they were all different. It's the witnesses. That's the testimony that it was true. Because they wrote it down. Jesus had them write everything down through their eyes. So it's through their eyes, but this is said by all of them. So we've been told, and it's been called Calvary, where Jesus was crucified, but actually it is place of a skull, because the mountains around it look like a skull. This is that area. It looks like a skull, but I think it's above there where I'll show another picture, crucified Jesus. So this is actually right outside Jerusalem. This is Golgotha. The Roman Empire liked to use high places to crucify prisoners so that the city would see what they would do. It would stand as a example. Yeah, so it says there, the scene of the crucifixion from the wall, graves have been removed. Here's another picture, place of a skull. And this was 2020, locating Golgotha, the authentic site of Christ's crucifixion. So this also confirms all of the Bible has been true up to this point. It's just this world didn't want you to know it. Archaeological findings suggest we've known the correct location for over 1,600 years. So, yeah, that's the site of it, Golgotha. And all the 4 Gospels all refer to it as the skull or place of the skull. So I don't think it's really that hard to figure out that what Skull and Bones, because it's deep, dark, secret society. They certainly are walking a different path, I'd say. And yet they have been the people that created American medicine. Again, so people don't forget, or if you forgot already, it's also Skull and Bones is known as Brotherhood of the Death. And they created the universities of medicine. It started with them. That's the reason why there's so many Yale leaders we have. And yet, where was Jesus crucified? Where was he crucified? Place of the skull. There are no coincidences.